Hello everyone, welcome back to Highways and Hilltops with Charlie and Jodi. This week we're going to be covering episode 40. It's our 2026 summer road trip, and our kickoff is from Oklahoma to Estes Park in Colorado.
Yeah, hi guys, we're so glad that you're back with us. We are fresh home from our 2026 summer road trip. It was a great one, and we can't wait to share it with you. But we hope that you enjoyed episode 38 and 39 with our good friends Lonnie and Liberty Shear as we went rolling down the river.
Yeah, that was awesome. I can't wait for the next ones.
I know.
We kind of left a cliffhanger there in the story, so yeah, we'll be getting back to that real quick.
We did for sure. I'm dying to hear the Greenville details of
it's
everything
almost
that
like
went
that.
down.
We covered a lot, but it was almost a teaser, wasn't it? Because we were just hanging on everything they were saying. But
I know.
I can't wait to get back to that one too.
Yeah, so great shout out to Lonnie and Liberty. Such good sports, great storytellers, and you guys go show them some love. Remember, they are the Okeys on Facebook, OHKEYS. Go tell them how much you love their episode. We sure want them to come back and finish the story.
Absolutely.
Well, today we are going to jump right into our 2026 summer road trip, and we are excited to share it with you. So how about we give them a little trip overview, Charlie?
Yeah, so this was a great trip. This probably was one of our best trips we've ever had, maybe the best.
Maybe.
We definitely, the honeymoon phase, I guess, is off. We ran into some things on this trip, but it was 36 total days, which was really great. 8 different states, 11 different campgrounds, 6 national parks, which was my favorite.
Oh, me too.
Probably around 4,500 miles or so. And that's just, of course, the truck pulling the camper.
Yep.
And then we took a Jeep with us.
We did.
And so we took a Jeep, and who knows mileage on the Jeep because we drove it everywhere, out through the national forests and you name it. So a big trip, and it was a lot of fun.
And my bad, I did not think to set the Jeep trip odometer before we left. Also, this is our first trip since all of our kids have been grown because Weston didn't go this time.
Yeah, it was just us for the part of the trip. We had some guests here and there, but it was fantastic. It was everything I was expecting it to be. Man, we covered a lot of stuff. Yeah,
I hate that Weston missed out on some of the things, but also we've been waiting 18 years to have a vacation to ourselves. And so I would be lying if I didn't tell you that it was fantastic.
Maybe a little bit of a honeymoon we never had, right?
Maybe that's what
great trip. You know, it's funny. You go back to places like Yellowstone or you go back to Glacier and everybody's like, well, why do you go back?
Yeah.
This felt like a completely different trip.
It's
almost like it was a different park. I mean, there were some familiar spots, but man, you can just, there's so much to these national parks that, you go for a 6-week trip like that and you kind of get highlights of each, even we stayed a couple of weeks in some areas. It still felt like there was so much we just couldn't get to. So,
yeah, I agree. And talking about those special visitors, this was really a special trip for so many reasons. One of those was that our daughter Bailey, who you guys know, we've had her on the podcast before, she actually left Oklahoma with us driving. So she drove the Jeep for the first leg. And I still got to ride with you. I wasn't driving that part. And then also our big kids from Texas, who you also have heard about on our Red River trip, and all the grandbabies got to come up and spend a few days in the mountains with us. And that's the first time that we've ever been with them at a national park. And so that was cool for this trip. And then maybe the thing that just really tugs at my heartstrings is my mama got to go to Glacier.
Yeah, she sure did.
She sure did. So you guys know that I've talked about that. It was actually part of my heart behind wanting to start this podcast in the first place because I wasn't sure that we were ever going to get my mom to Glacier. And we haven't really talked about it much on the podcast, but my mom recently beat lung cancer. So praise the Lord. You guys know she went with us to Florida at Christmas, and we had just found out about a peach-sized tumor in her lung then. So she actually had cancer when we went on that trip and was starting treatment as soon as we got back. Between when we got back in January and now, she is cancer-free. Praise the Lord.
Amen. And thank God, I mean, you're talking about completely healed, like completely from a peach-sized tumor.
Yep.
And her getting to go up there was so cool. I mean,
so cool.
It was so cool. And then, of course, your sister got to come along.
Yep. And my sister, Pee-wee. Pee-wee is her nickname. Her real name is Ethel. But I call her my little big sister because she's actually older than me, but much smaller than me. So she's my little big sister, Pee-wee. Did come along with Mom, and it was so fun that we got to show them the mountains and show them around Glacier. And I just loved it.
And we got a variety of different weather patterns and things coming through. So it was kind of cool. We got some cold, we got some warm, we got some kind of stormy days. So there was a lot going on. Not everything went as planned, but it was fantastic.
Yeah, it is interesting when you spend a more extended period of time in one place, isn't it?
It is.
Because you kind of get to experience some of those weather swings, I guess.
Yeah, and also, not just being in one place, just like if you go to one place every year, or if you say like you've been there before and you're expecting it to be just like it was, it's rarely that way.
Yeah, and remember last time when we did our Glacier podcast, we said we were early then, and we were there at the end of June. And then this time, we were still back around, were we into June?
Well, we were kind of
mid-June.
Mid-June.
Yeah,
right? So,
this time.
Yeah, and the funny thing about it is you're always expecting, but from year to year, we're finding that any of these national parks, the weather patterns change.
Yeah.
They didn't get a lot of snow this year.
That's true.
A little bit drier, and it was a little bit warmer early. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes we've went and, it's basically, you've got some snow spots that's keeping you out of some areas. So it was neat to see the difference.
Yeah, it was. I can't wait to get into all of that with you guys. So for the most part, most things went as planned. We had about 3 major pivots. One was wind in Wyoming.
Yeah, the I-80 stuff. That blew my mind a little bit. I won't lie, because I knew about it, but I never put 2 and 2 together. I found myself there. It's like, oh, I knew about this, but
yes.
So if you don't know, I-80 closes at times.
Yeah, it's called the Windy Corridor.
And for sure, fifth wheels are, unless you're a big heavy semi or something over 40,000 pounds.
I think they closed it to vehicles under 20,000, and so we decided to wait it out. And then later in the day, it closed to vehicles under 40,000, so that didn't help us any. But we did
sat on the side of the road. When I first seen the sign, I was like, is this for real? And then we Googled it. It's like, yeah, it's for real. So they'll find you really big. And something that kind of stuck out to me is if you have a wreck on that and they have it closed, your insurance company can deny you because they say you went on a closed road.
Yeah.
Or at least that's rumor.
It was interesting. So when we leave Colorado and head to Wyoming, we will give you all the details about that. But just remember, we had a wind pivot. We also had a water main break. And then we had a decent storm on the way home that created the third pivot.
Running from tornadoes in Kansas, that's a whole podcast in itself.
A whole podcast. All right. So other than that, the Brinkley did well.
It did. We had 1 recall.
We did have a recall.
And it wasn't a big deal. We just called them and they sent some parts to our next destination.
Yeah.
But it was the bolts that hold the shocks on, basically.
It
has a stud that holds it, but this is like a keeper bolt. Real simple. Back them out, put some Loctite on them, run them back in. Wasn't a big deal at all.
Yep.
They took really good care of us. Of course, we figured we better do it. They say you could hurt somebody if one of those bolts shear off. So didn't feel right about driving it on. So. And
you did it at the RV park in Alpine, Wyoming.
In about an hour. Yeah, about an hour. The yoga mat that we talk about is a handy necessity. You just throw that thing down and.
Handy necessity.
But it wasn't bad, but it was something we figured we should do.
Well, so let's see. Did we have anything else? Oh, we did have the cabinet door frame.
Yeah, we've said that we've not had any troubles. This is about 15,000 miles on this thing, maybe more.
Yeah.
Several big trips for 30 days at a time. Here's the cool thing. The cabinets in the Brinkley are really tight fitted. They're grooved and everything. And they're I think you call it tongue and groove or slotted, or I'm not sure how they build them, but doweled or whatever. But the cool thing is you can take those apart and glue them and they go together really easy. So we noticed one of the stiles on the bottom was kind of sagging and we just kind of caught our eye. We ran down to Walmart, bought some Elmer's glue, wood glue, put it on there, snapped it all back together, and the thing, actually, I could hammer it back in there with my hands, and it ran for miles and miles, right? So They're really, really tight, but I think they didn't glue this one because nothing else has happened, but I think they just forgot to glue this one. Yeah. Not a big deal at all. And then we had the fire extinguisher. There's a little plastic keeper kind of that holds the fire extinguisher on the wall, which I'm not sure why we put those things on the wall because they go into the sink just as well. But the little plastic keeper broke, and I thought, heck with it. I just put it under the sink. But still to this day, at 15,000 plus miles, I've done such minimal work on this thing. Yeah.
So other than that, the Brinkley was fantastic. We enjoyed it. We had a good time in it, and we'll jump right in. So basically, we were planning to leave on May 30th. That was the earliest that we could get out of here after school was out. So our daughter Bailey, she decided that she would come down and stay the night before, and then she jumped in the Jeep and followed us to Goodland, Kansas. Now that's going to be our first stop. You guys have heard us talk about Goodland, Kansas before because this is not our first time that we've stayed at the Goodland KOA.
Yeah, we stay there. It's kind of the nicest, close first spot for us. It's just handy. It's a nice place too. We've never had any issues there.
Yep.
It's always a good place to stop.
It is. And this KOA has the best gift shop. They actually had toasted marshmallow little stuffed animals, like a trio of toasted marshmallows that were so cute. It was the first stop, and I knew I better not start spending money.
One thing, though, you got to know, if you're in Kansas, in my opinion, you're always looking at the skies.
Yes.
Right? So the tornadoes and stuff like that, I mean, way before we RV'd back in the rodeo days, and we ran from tornadoes all over this place up there.
Yes.
They called that the Prairie Circuit. Remember, the whole Prairie Circuit had tornadoes. But this time we were driving, and we were looking into the sky. What did we see?
We did notice that it was getting a little hazy, and I had jumped in with Bailey in the Jeep at that point, and Bailey was like, that's weird. Is there a fire? Because, normally it's wildfire smoke for us that we see. And so we were kind of looking at it, and we radioed you, and we're like, do you see that? What's happening up there? And about that time, our phones all go off at the same time with that emergency ring, noise. Dust storm warning.
What was weird was it was just red sky.
Yeah, it was wild looking.
And I won't lie, I think that's the first one of those I've had in a while.
Yeah.
I remember them, when we were younger. But anyway, here comes this huge dust storm. So we run up there and get set up real fast and get inside. Cool thing is it actually even missed us. Yeah, we were kind of on the edge, I think, of the real thing. It didn't last long either. No. But it was just enough to get your attention. You're in tornado country. Yeah. And you'll pay attention. But it actually was kind of welcome because when we got out at the store, we stopped at the Loves. And when we got out there, it was like 105. And then when we got out to set up the Brinkley, it was like 79 degrees. Yeah, something was coming. I don't know what it was. Because the dust storm blew through and made a good shade over the sun, and we were like, wow, this is actually kind of nice. But yeah, we had dodged thunderstorms all the way to Goodland. I was watching them on the weather radar. I knew going through Oklahoma, I had already watched to see where those pop-up thunderstorms were going to happen. If you live in Oklahoma and Kansas, you just have to watch those little early summer supercells because they can spin up and get wicked in a hurry. And so we were driving on the highway, and we were watching the storms build over to our north, but we knew that we were going to route around those, which is why we didn't just take off from Claremore and drive straight north, so we could avoid some of that. A little stroke of genius this time. We decided we were going to buy the walkie-talkies. Oh yeah. And if you have someone following you, or you're not in the same vehicle or whatever, man, that is so handy. It also kind of killed the monotony a little bit. Yeah. We would kind of pump each other up and say, hey, can you see the mountains, here, right around the corner or whatever. It made the driving two vehicles completely bearable. Yeah, it was nice that we could talk about crazy drivers or, hey, someone's running up on you because we were following you. And yeah. And so, yeah, that storm's did make coming. It nice. I can see it, that kind of thing. Yeah. One more thing about the Goodland KOA, one thing I love about them, whenever I wrote that we were going to be a late arrival on the KOA reservation inside the app, I wrote that we needed to make sure our spot was long enough for our 35-foot Brinkley, our tow vehicle, which was our truck, and a Jeep.
And so whenever I went to the late registration to pick up our packet, she put a Jeep duck in my registration packet from the Goodland KOA. I thought that was so cute. And then when we stopped by there the next morning before we left, she said, "Did you get your duck?"
They're always so friendly, and then that you've got some towels there and all kinds of stuff. That's a really nice place.
Oh, yeah, I did buy my national park towel there.
Yeah, really nice place that super easy to set up, super clean.
Yeah,
that's a good stop.
It is. It's a good one. We highly recommend Goodland KOA if you're going to be going through the Goodland, Kansas area. If you are going Oklahoma to Colorado, it's a great stop. And they have cabins. So if you're not an RV person, you could check it out for an overnight stop if you're on your way to Colorado.
And it's timed just right.
It is.
They put it there. I mean, they can tell what the destinations are. They put it right there when just kind of the right drive day. So.
And it's not just one of those stops where there's nothing to do, because right down the road, there's a giant easel.
Yeah.
So if you like quirky little roadside stops like we do, let me tell you about this easel that they have in Goodland, Kansas. You can go do a photo op with it. It's literally yards from the KOA's entrance. And it is an 80-foot tall easel that holds a giant replica of Vincent van Gogh's 3 Sunflowers in Vase painting.
And the parking lot's big enough you can pull your fifth wheel in there too and get in and out.
Yeah, we did, didn't we? And because there's like a park there with a dog park and such. So, fun fact, this structure was created by the Canadian artist Cameron Cross in 2001. And the painting itself, the canvas that actually sits up on the easel, is 24 feet by 32 feet. It's crazy. Big. It is a big O easel. It sits on a 40,000-pound easel, and it was placed in Goodland, Kansas as part of a global project to reproduce all 7 of Van Gogh's paintings. So that's kind of fun. Do you know why they picked the sunflower painting of Vincent van Gogh's?
I do not know.
Because Kansas is the sunflower state.
Huh, okay.
So there you go. There's your fun fact about a crazy little photo op that you can do right there in Goodland, Kansas. So fast forward May 31st, we're getting up. We are heading to Jellystone Park in Estes Park, Colorado. Just a little heads up, that highway from Kansas to Colorado, it's really bumpy when you get on the Colorado side.
Yeah, and it's not just bumps. It's kind of that roller coaster feel where it kind of bump, 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 Yeah. You definitely have to slow down through there.
Yeah, it is crazy. Specifically between Limon, I might not be saying that right, but it's Limon, however you say that, Colorado, and Strasburg. If you're traveling, it's I-70, by the way. If you're traveling I-70 and you're headed into Colorado, you really need to pay attention to the signs. They do have some signs that say road damage.
Yeah. There's like a sign and you wait forever and all of a sudden there it is.
We're like, road damage.
Just know to slow down in that area.
What does that mean? Where is it? How long until we hit it? Did we already pass it? And then bam, there it is. So yeah, if there's still signs up that say road damage in that area of Colorado, just be mindful that they probably mean it, even though it might take you a hot minute to get to it. Another thing about our trip from Kansas to Colorado, that toll road that bypasses downtown Denver is so worth it. Whenever RV Life was going to route us that way, I was like, toll road? If you're from Oklahoma, a road named E470 is going to be a narrow county road. But this is actually a highway, and it takes you around the Denver airport way. And man, you bypass all that downtown traffic. It was so worth it to get over to Estes. And then we made it to our destination, Jellystone Park. What'd you think?
So it's a nice place.
It is.
It's a fun place. The pool, the jump pads for the kids, the putt-putt golf, the game room. Really, really nice. It's in the mountains, so it's really nice once you get there. I will tell you, if you spook easily about parking places for your RV, this one got me a little bit. So basically, you run in there and you go all the way up this hill, and then our spot was probably, 30 degrees or something downhill. Maybe that's not correct, but it's several feet lower than where we were on the road.
Yes.
And so I had to lock the truck into 4-wheel drive really low and really crawl it down in there. And you can imagine a 35-footer, you know, the back end came pretty close to the ground. And
yeah.
Now, once we got it down in there and got it set up, it wasn't bad. It kind of reminds you of one of those places where you see your spot, you see a bluff behind it, and you're backing down into that bluff.
Yeah.
Is what it feels like. I'm not a huge fan of those. I won't lie to you, because I feel like when you put the jacks down and you chalk the wheels and all that stuff, that's, you know, I don't know. It just feels like maybe you're too a little close to the bluff. Mm-hmm. But we got down in there. It was fine. Just a little hard to get in there. Those trucks don't turn well with four-wheel drive.
And a little hard to get out.
So this was a, you know, Cummins diesel motor pulling a fifth wheel that's not exactly a big fifth wheel, right? Mm-hmm. And I locked it into 4-low to get it out of there, and I mean I was churning to get it up out of there. But once we got in there, it was great.
It was great.
They even had like some character rides with tractors. They had a big area for our grandkids to play and do artwork and stuff like that. Yep. We had a good time there.
We did.
But I will say, if I had a big, you know, like a big Lux or something like that, or a big Super C or something, I would just be sure that I went to Google Earth and found my spot and rented the one I wanted.
And here's the bad part. We did that. We pulled up the Jellystone map. Now, here's the thing. It's always flat. So you don't know until you get there that you're layered down the side of a mountain.
We say that a lot. Check Google Earth, check Google Earth.
It's built
but
on
the truth is sometimes even that gets you.
We pulled Google Earth up. Remember, I was like, if we get this spot, you can pull up on the pavement right there where it goes around the pavilion and back in. And thank goodness that we had that. But what we didn't know was that where the asphalt dropped to the gravel on the actual spot was going to be,
downhill in 2 or 3 feet, you know.
Yeah. And so it was a significant drop.
It had a ramp to it. It was just so low down in there.
Yes.
Around the corner from us, there were several spots. There were some Super Cs and stuff like that. If I were you, I would probably just call them and say, hey, I've got this kind of rig and I can't be put in a place where I'm, you know, in a bind.
Yeah, maybe that's the piece that we're missing. Maybe that's what we need to do. Because even when you look at it on the map and we were like, this spot will work because we can pull up on the asphalt and back right into the spot. All the spots that were left all looked a little bit small. All of those spots are pretty tight in that
This is
campground.
about our 4th spot that we kind of want to, you know, had a little bit of complaint about, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Of all these trips, about 4 spots. So it surprises you. It sneaks up on you a little bit.
It does.
And but that being said, there were other spots down there that were great.
Mm-hmm.
You just pull through them and just, you know, no problem. But
those were down on the bottom, but there aren't very many of those. Most of them are back in spots up on the side of the hill in this particular park. But this park is great for so many other reasons. Just if you have a great big rig, you might want to call ahead, like Charlie said, and just talk to the office. And they may tell you can get in there anyway. Because they always think you're a magician. Yeah,
if you emphasized, you know, the size of your rig or whatever, or you just told them, look, I don't want to come if it's not, you know, flat or whatever. But
another thing that was a little bit weird, like when you turn off the highway, you have to pull up there straight, and you're on a pretty steep incline, and then you walk up to the office. That was a little weird.
Well, it's Colorado.
It is Colorado. I mean, you're right.
You want to be in the mountains, and you know, you're
going to run into these kinds of things. That's true. And while I was checking us in, you talked to a guy in a brand new Brinkley.
Yeah, so
down by the road.
I met a couple that had just sold out, bought their Brinkley. He bought a brand new GMC truck, and he bought a Brinkley, and I think it was a little bit bigger than ours. But yeah, that was their very first day of full-time RV living. They had just left the dealership and they just set up, and I guess he wasn't there long enough for his air conditioner to cool everything off when we showed up. But it's pretty neat to see him. He was really excited about, you know, full-time RV living and stuff. They had kids. Yeah. They were both working. Pretty neat deal.
That's pretty cool. And then when we got up to our spot up top, we had another Brinkley neighbor. Theirs was a little different model than ours too, but they were our next door neighbor.
And it was new.
And it was brand new too. Yeah, so that was fun. We got to talk to some Brinkley people. Like Charlie mentioned, there's a ton to do at Jellystone Park. We'll get into a lot of that later when we talk about when our grandkids got there. Right down from the campground, there's kind of a state park, and it's called something ranch, but an elk herd hangs out there. And we got a big surprise one night, we'll tell you here in a minute. But once we got all set up, you guys know how we are. We were hungry, first of all. So we ran to town to eat. We went to a place called the Hive at Estes Park. I had a burger. I would say it was mid. I don't remember what you and Bailey ate.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, close to national park seasonal food a lot of times, right?
That's true.
We always talk about cooking, and this is why. I mean, it's good, but it's not as good as if you're going to cook something. So,
we did see a small bachelor group of elk when we were heading into town from the campground. They were all laying under a big old pine or cedar tree or something.
Yeah.
And
elk everywhere. Big elk everywhere.
They're not kidding. We've never been to Estes Park. Well, I mean, we drove through it once when we came off of Trail Ridge Road the last time, but we haven't spent time there until this time.
Yeah.
And all that stuff you see on the internet about the elk just hanging out in the town of Estes Park, it's real.
Yeah. Do you remember that evening we come through there and that elk butted that girl off that bicycle?
Off the scooter thing?
Yeah. It's wow.
Yes, that's crazy. Our daughter-in-law.
They get so used to them just hanging out everywhere. They're just riding their bicycles past them. And this elk, I don't think the elk tried to hurt her. It just was in the way, and she just
I think it was a mama.
Yeah.
And it's calving season.
Yeah.
So they're a little, snorty right now. Or back then. So after we ate, well, we had a couple of hours of daylight left. So what do y'all think we did?
Yeah, so this park, if you only have a couple hours, sometimes that's pretty neat in the evening.
Yes.
Because as soon as you pull in the gate there, go a little ways, you're going to come up into a big valley. And there's a dirt road on the left, or a lot of people go down there and just sit in the evenings and watch the elk. So, yeah, if you've only got a couple hours, and it's just a couple hours before dark especially, it's a great time to go in the park. So we didn't hold up. We went straight to the park.
We did. I mean, after 2 p.m., you don't have to have a timed entry. So we just drove right in the gate, drove around until we found some boulders on the side of the road, and you and Bailey did a little rock climbing.
Yeah. Get out and stretch. We've been driving, so we wanted to get out and get our stretch on and get a little bit hot or whatever. And, we crawled up on top of those boulders. You could see that big valley. And elk everywhere, and you name it. It's a beautiful place.
And the best part about it, on May 31st, it was sweatshirt weather. So we had sweatshirts and shorts on, and actually probably should have had on sweats as we went a little farther up the mountain.
Yeah, first stop here, and right as June is beginning, the whole trip was beginning, and still a little bit early. I love those times. I just think you see more wildlife, and I just enjoy that weather.
Yeah, the evenings were definitely cool. After we did a little rock climbing, walked a short little trail, then we drove about a mile, and we noticed a group of people. And, I mean, if you're a national park junkie, you know what it means when there's people pulled over on the side of the road.
You don't look for the animals, you look for the people.
You look for the people. So we were like, okay, something's going down up there, so we got to go figure out what it is. And lo and behold, a young moose hanging out in kind of a marshy area, just gnawing on some grass, and we got to watch him for a while and get pictures. I mean, we haven't even been in the park an hour, and we're already on our first moose.
The cool thing about Estes is you almost can tell what you're going to see, right? I mean, if you're in those valleys and stuff, you kind of expect elk, and you go just down the road and you see these wetlands, you know this is going to be a moose, right?
Yep.
And it's like they're segregated almost.
It is. It's kind of crazy. Like they live in groups, have moved into certain portions of the park.
Yeah. Where
Yellowstone is a little more hit and miss, where you're going to see things. But Estes, you're right. It's almost like clockwork.
Yeah. You get to the wetlands, you start changing what you're looking for.
Yeah. So we stopped, got a few great little shots of him. Had fun watching him just grazing out there in that marshy wetland. And then we decided to take off up Trail Ridge Road. Now, mind you, it's an hour and a half or so from dark, maybe 2 hours from dark still. And it's about 48 degrees where we're at. And Estes sits at about 6,500 feet of elevation. By the time you get into the Bear Lake corridor, you're somewhere around 8,000, and then you're just climbing from there. And at the top of Trail Ridge Road, before you start down the other side, you hit 12,000 feet. So the weather can change in a hurry.
Yeah, and so what's always interesting to me is we start our trip and we go to Colorado first, typically, and that's where the 12,000-foot mountain is.
Yep.
As we go up toward Yellowstone Glacier, we don't ever get that high.
That's true.
Right? So there's a radical difference. You can be at camp and say, I don't even think I need a jacket, and then head up there. You do. I mean,
yes,
it can be hot at the camp. And it'd be cold at the top, right? So
by the time we got to the top of the mountain, it was 36 degrees, y'all. And I mean, it was just getting dark. We were actually back down on the bottom and when it was dusk because we still had enough light to see the big moose that night on the way down.
We start at the bottom in t-shirt and shorts.
Yep.
And by the time we get to the top, we're pulling on some sweats and hoodies and things like that. So in the back of this Jeep, we've got a kind of a war kit of all these warm clothes, crackers and water and whatever, because you just never know, right? And
I think we even had beanies and gloves on at one point, trying to keep the windows down while we were in the Jeep coming down Trail Ridge Road. So we were 48, close to the bottom, and then 36 degrees at the top. We did stop at an overlook up on the tundra. We walked on snow that was crossing the walkway to go to an overlook, and Bailey found some pika, a pika and a marmot. I think she got a few pics of both of those. And then we made our way on to the Alpine Visitor Center, and we even still had enough daylight to reenact that picture of you and Bailey from our first trip to Rocky Mountain National Park, minus Weston, because we have two of those. So we took one, and then we went like 10 years later, and then we took it again, we reenacted it, and then this time we reenacted it again, so that was fun, but we were just missing Weston in that one. Just before dark, we start back down the mountain, and we get a few hundred yards probably from where we saw the first moose, and Bailey was like, Dad, stop, I saw something, and it might not be anything, but it was dark, and there was something dark back there. So we pull the Jeep over, and sure enough, it's a big old bull moose.
Yeah, big one. And we got some really good pictures of him, and we really got to watch him for a while.
Yep.
He was a safe distance, but yet he was just kind of staying right there in the reeds and stuff.
Yeah, he was eating those leaves off of some kind of young tree or bush or something.
Yeah.
That's all covered in that marshy wetland right there where he likes to hang out.
This is the part where we put the disclaimer in there. The lady from Alaska said moose are jerks.
Yes.
And the actual facts is the moose hurt more people than anybody.
We talked to her at Idaho.
Yeah.
She was our neighbor at Idaho. And then we were like, oh, shoot. Well, guess we should have paid more attention to that moose.
Being from Alaska and really seeing lots of stuff, she knew what she was talking about with all these animals. So.
Yeah.
But the moose can't see well. And then, of course, especially, again, the mama thing, if you get a mama there, they just kind of bad about stomping people.
Yeah. So luckily we were able to watch him from a good little ways, like you said, and get some great pictures of him. And it was fun. He did not care about us. He didn't seem to care about us. You
keep your car close and you just kind of know, watch them. But
that's true. So after that, we continued on toward the gate, and then we decided, since we still had a little bit of light, because guys, it don't get dark there till like 10 o'clock.
Yeah, it's 9:30 for sure. I mean, it's really feels late.
Yeah, it's hard on us because
this is why we never go back to the trailer, because there's daylight. By the time you get back to the trailer and you get in there, it's 10 o'clock.
Yeah, sometimes we ate dinner at like 11.
Yeah,
because we're just those people. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But we decided to drive down that dirt road that Charlie talked about earlier, down to the Beaver Meadows Trail. At this point, we don't realize that people go down there to watch the sunset. We find that out toward the end of our Colorado trip, right? But when we got down there was a huge herd of elk. I mean, huge. It was too dark to get pictures of them, but I don't know how many were out there. We could see them, and they were milling around, and I was wishing that it was a little lighter, but
that valley backs up to some timber, and it's kind of off by itself and secluded. And there's two big, long valleys coming off that mountain. And I noticed those elk hit those two valleys, and they come down that field after dark, and they just graze all night, apparently.
Yeah, so Beaver Meadows, if you go to Rocky Mountain National Park. Hit that up in the evening. The sunset also coming over or setting behind that mountain is amazing. There's
a little water down there too. It's a beautiful place to get pictures.
Yep, that's true. So don't pass up that little dirt road. It's worth it.
And you always see it seems like the cows come out, then the family group, the smaller ones, and then all of a sudden you'll just watch and there'll be the big bulls will sneak out there as a group, but they'll kind of sneak in right at the dark.
Yeah, we did.
They know
see
what
that
they're doing.
Big bull coming, didn't we? Right at dark. After that, we decided we're going to head back. It's getting late and it's dark. I'm going to tell you something. Driving in Oklahoma when the deer are moving is a little bit harrowing. But driving in Estes Park, where there are giant elk all over the road, is terrifying.
Yeah, you've got to slow down. I mean, it does frustrate me a little bit when I see someone speeding through there and hitting those curves in their sports cars or whatever. Could you imagine what, let's say, like a Corvette or something would do if you clipped an elk by the ankles? It's going to kill that guy.
And we were looking for them, and we literally passed the biggest bull elk like right outside of our Jeep mirror. That's how close he was to the road.
His big old crown and his rack and that full crown and stuff, all he has to do is turn his head and knock you out, right?
Yeah, he would have been into the windshield.
Yeah, it's definitely something you got to really watch for and slow down. I mean, they're everywhere in this place.
That was scary because we were all looking and we just didn't see him
We were almost back to the RV spot.
Yeah,
it was way outside the park.
Kind of by where that bachelor group was at. I think
it's just right outside this RV park, probably 200 yards.
Yeah. And so the irritating thing is that people will just like get on your bumper through there. And in the dark, we're trying to slow down because we're like, well, we don't want to hit an elk. And they're trying to drive like 60 or 70 down that highway.
They're just not thinking about it. I mean,
it's annoying.
If you think about this, so even in the RV park, think about the evening we were sitting out there just, watching TV and, roasting marshmallows on the fire or whatever.
Oh, and the elk came
down. And probably 45 minutes before dark. Yeah. Elk came down, was standing, that brand new Brinkley on that side and ours. He came right in by that guy's brand new truck. I could have spit on this elk. That's how close he got. We had to get up and leave and let him come through there. And it ended up being like a bachelor group of like 3 or something like that. Great big elk.
There were 4, I think, in that group.
So, I mean, they're just walking down through the camp. So if there's that many elk where the people are making all this noise, they're just everywhere. They're like deer. Really, from Estes all the way to Bridger Teton, it's just heavy elk. I mean, that part of the Rockies must hold all the elk.
Yeah, it is insane. If you want to see elk, big elk, go to Estes Park. Go to Rocky Mountain National Park. You're going to see elk.
Everybody gets pictures of these elk.
I can't even tell you how crazy it feels to be in the presence of all those elk. All right, well, that's going to end day 1 in Colorado, Kansas and Colorado in that day. But as usual, we made it eventful. And so we were talking a couple of days ago about like our travel style because we really thought that if we planned more days at the campground, that we would hang out at the trailer more. And we didn't.
I had what do you call that thing? The fire pit thing that we bought?
The solo stove.
The solo stove, lawn chairs, Coleman stoves, footstools, and you name it, man. We had it. We got them out for the grandkids, I think, when they were there, but we just don't sit there. I'm sure glad I didn't go down and buy all the beef I was going to buy for this trip. Right? Remember, I was going to freeze, vacuum seal and freeze a bunch of meat and all this other stuff because we would have been eating it when we got home because we just don't stop.
We don't. And so I'm really curious if you guys want to, you should jump out on our social media or send us an email or something. Do you sit around at the camp or are you running all the time? And we're trying to figure this out. Like, why are we this way? We don't know if we're just wired like this or if it's just we feel like we have such a short amount of time that we have to see all the things. We don't know. Maybe it's because we're Enneagram 7s.
We were gone 36 days. We get up, we eat something for breakfast, we start packing our packs and we load the Jeep down with all the cool stuff and cameras, and we're gone.
And we're gone.
We're either hiking, hopefully we're fishing a little bit, hiking, going and seeing something. We don't even really eat that much.
We don't.
I mean, it's kind of crazy because I'm a big eater, but
it's weird.
We get to the mountains, we would rather be hiking by some stream or something, and we don't come back till dark. And I've even said, okay, tomorrow we're going to stay here and I'm going to cook and all this other stuff, and we end up getting up and leaving.
Yeah, we get bored or something.
I don't know if we're the only ones that do that.
I don't know either.
But if this is the case, we struggle. Like, we love the van, because picture this: you're driving in your van and you do a little pull off, and say you're by the Madison River in the Yellowstone. You go down and fish a while. You come back and make a sandwich. You go back and fish. I mean,
you go take a nap.
We don't want to leave the park. Yeah, we've taken naps, and so now we're thinking our Brinkley. It's still mint condition.
Yeah. And basically we sleep in it.
It's a bed.
We sleep in it.
And so we're thinking, if there's something wrong with us, or this will change. But right now we're like, man, we might have, we might end up in a van again. We never know.
We might. We don't know. So anyway, you should chime in and tell us, what do you do when you go to places like Yellowstone or Rocky Mountain National Park or Glacier? Do you spend all your time in the park, or do you schedule time at the campground, or do you hang out at the campground? We never get in a pool. We don't do a hot tub. It's just straight into the mountain every time. The amenities don't matter. If there's mini golf, we say we're going to do it, and we never do it. Well, we should say too, like, even when we're home, we don't sit still. That is true. Yeah. We're runners. We just don't sit still. I mean, I can sit still for about an hour, and then I'm starting to look around the walls and wonder why, why are we still here? So. So let us know how you do it, because maybe we're broken. Maybe. I'm wondering. It's sure making it hard to make good decisions on RV purchases, I'll tell you that. It is, for sure. Okay, folks. Well, we are going to stop here, and we'll pick up next time with day 2 in Rocky Mountain National Park. You're not going to want to miss this. This summer road trip has been one for the books. Guys, we have fishing adventures to tell you about. We have hiking adventures to tell you about. We have weather adventures to tell you about. It was a little bit of everything, just a hodgepodge. It was. I was really freaked out the last day. I'm not going to lie. We're not going to tell the story yet, but the weather events were crazy. It was so cool, though. The hikes were so cool, but the weather events were crazy. It was crazy. So now it's time for Focused on Faith. What do you have for us this week, Charlie? I was reading, and it says, always be ready to give a testimony. And I thought to myself, okay, testimony. All right, I could tell you all about John 3:16. I could tell you about Romans Road. I could tell you all these things. I could tell you how much Jesus loves you. I could tell you how much he's not looking for you to clean up before you come to him. He just wants you to come to him and love him. I mean, all these things, but that's not really a testimony. Yeah. So I was just thinking, if I had to, put my hand on a Bible and somebody asked me, why do you believe this? And I got to thinking, well, when we grew up, we got saved really early. Because we were fortunate enough to grow up in a family who all loved Christ. My mother was a wonderful, saintly woman in my mind. Your mother is absolutely that way. My dad was. Our families were very much pointing us to God. Pointing us to God. Yeah. So it was kind of neat that we got saved early, but it's almost like you got saved early, all that, but you still have to go through the same things a lot of people have to go through to kind of get to that confident point. Yeah. Sometimes you would just rather it be just radical, like Paul's conversion was. Yeah. But it's not. Right. It's typically not. So I was thinking, I'm going to make bullet points. Here's the things that I can confidently say. I can give you a testimony as a friend and say, I love Jesus, and here's why. And I will say it was just his involvement in my life, which sounds crazy. But when I first got saved, I was saved absolutely. And it's a free gift, and I don't want to imply that you earn it or anything like that. But I didn't have the same confidence in it as I do now. Yes. Right. And I just think over the years, that things have happened to give me that confidence, and it's just changed my mind.
how many times have we been in a bind, like when we first got married and really up till the last 10 years or so, where we would have all kinds of financial troubles or something. And then when we would pray about it and somehow we would get through, not always the way we wanted to and not always the easy way,
right?
But somehow we got through. I can remember when Weston was unborn yet, and the doctor told us he was going to die.
Yep.
In no uncertain terms, this guy's like, he's going to die. You should probably get it. I mean, he didn't say it quite like this, but you should probably think about this abortion thing or whatever.
They offered it.
And to your credit, you're like, no, that's not going to happen. But we were sitting there by the bed, and we weren't praying at this moment. We had been praying because we wanted we were scared.
Yes.
And 2 young kids, and we were scared. And just a wonderful presence came into that room, and that doctor came back and checked, and he was healthy all of a sudden.
Yep.
Pretty complicated.
It's a kidney
thing.
Yeah.
Pretty complicated little deal, and the doctor went back and got another one and tested again. And then the doctor's finally like, okay, just y'all can leave. It's all good.
Yeah.
And then we just felt so good after that. Before the doctor said that, we were confident that everything was okay.
Mm-hmm.
But where the heck did that come from?
Yeah, we had peace that surpassed all understanding.
Yeah, like that. Because it actually fit, right?
Yeah, we shouldn't have had peace.
How many times when you were younger did you your parents drag you to church, you didn't really want to be there, but you felt the Holy Spirit drawing you to Him? It happened to me a lot, right? And, how many times do we, again, have some kind of need or pray for a parent or pray for somebody? And not always. I mean, sometimes, I don't know, nothing happened, right?
Yeah.
But then there's those other times it seems like when I really needed Him, boy, He came through.
Yeah.
And then that drawing we talked about. And then the last thing for me, at least, is one night I got filled with the Holy Spirit. Mm-hmm. And it was private. It was in my bedroom by myself, praying with my head down on the bed. And I just had this experience. Mm-hmm. I don't know how to describe it other than it was beautiful. Mm-hmm. And you had noticed something different about me. Mm-hmm. And you were kind of following me around the house saying, what's going on? Because we've always been really tight. So if anything happened to me, I can't get by with anything. And so you were following me around, and I just kind of turned and laid my hand on your forehead, and it happened to you.
Yeah.
Now, it would take 10 preachers to explain that to me.
Yes.
We're not theologians. I'm not theologian, but I will say this. I've had these experiences. I've had this drawing. I've been in need. I've seen, when you're speaking events, when you spoke, I've seen change in people. There's just something about it and I will say too, after that experience, I had a confidence I never had before. I would never do this.
Yeah.
Because I never had enough confidence to say it like it's a true heart testimony. I would have to say it like it's kind of like what they spoke about Jesus. All the teachers spoke like someone who was teaching you. Jesus spoke with someone with authority. I understand that now, because before this experience, I probably would be speaking from what I read and what I think.
Right.
But somehow over the years, these life lessons,
yes.
We're all on this lesson plan. Whether you believe or don't believe, you're on a lesson plan.
Yes.
And it's through that time and through that experience and just that relationship with Him over time, I've just became so confident and convinced that I've seen Him forgive me for things that I was just so ashamed to ask for forgiveness for. Yeah. And time again, I felt those weights lifted. It's like, okay, he somehow, I'm kind of back in these good graces. I can talk to Him again. But anyway, that I think that the testimony is just important. Mm-hmm. And if I had to tell a friend that asked me, well, why do you believe in this stuff? You don't believe just because your parents. I will say, I got in this because of my parents, but I stayed because He's always with me.
That's really good. I think when I think about it, maybe it's a difference of knowing Him academically. I understand there is a God. I understand who He is, and I understand who people say He is, versus knowing Him as in a relationship. So when your faith becomes your own and you start building that relationship with Him, Willie Robertson says it like this, and I think this is a pretty good analogy. He says, it would be like me being married to Corey for 30 years, but yet I never talk about her.
Yeah.
Then what kind of relationship is that? Like, if we're going to talk for any length of time, you're probably going to hear me mention Corey because I do life with her every day. It would be like me and you, right? So the same thing. I can't talk to people very long without bringing you up because you're just a huge part of my life. And so I think that that's kind of how it is when you have a relationship with Christ. You're not going to talk to me very long without hearing me talk about praying or my belief in God or understanding where I stand in my faith, because I have a relationship with him. He's part of my everyday. I know him more than academically. It's a heart thing.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. Someone who didn't believe it. Say like when I first got saved, it was pretty academic. Mm-hmm. Well, let me back up. Maybe not. I felt drawn.
Yes, me too.
But I was so stuck on what they were saying, like you had, say this, mm-hmm. say that. It felt a little academic.
Yes.
But then later, as life lessons played out, to your point, the relationship, man, it just got solid, and I started really seeing things. It's almost like the veil was lifted later.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I see people that won't accept Christ. I'm like, I get it, man. I really, really do get it. But it's weird. It's like you've got to step forward, and then he'll take it from there.
Yeah. I don't know how people who don't believe, like, I need the hope of eternal life.
Yeah.
I need the hope of being together with the people that I love. What do they do when life gets hard? Because it's hard.
It just gets harder and harder, I think. Yeah. And it gets hard for everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, but alone is a bad place to be. When it gets hard. This is why I keep saying I love the mountains so much. It says he treads upon the mountains. When I'm in the mountains, I feel it. I can see his creation. I can see his work. And I'm also alone, and my mind quietens that one time, or whenever you're there for that length of time, and my mind quietens and I can pray. And that's probably why we love it so much. But I just can't imagine doing that without him, because thank God. I was the kid that screamed and kicked and didn't want to go to church. I'm not going to lie. Now I'm the kid that thinks it's the coolest thing in the world, right? That had to change in me. Yeah. And it was a heart change, and it was all about that relationship. But I mean, I can see him active in my life. You know what I mean? And I guess the last part of my testimony is that once you step through that gate and you say, okay, let's try this, I'm going for it. That's when things change for you. It's not an academic thing. It's not a brainwashing thing. Something truly happens. Mm-hmm. And you can't explain that to somebody.
Yeah. I think part of that drawing is, a praying mama, a praying grandma. Your parents and grandparents were, avid believers, and I'm sure that you've been covered in a lot of prayer. And me too. So I'm thankful for that. It reminds me to continue to pray for our kids. I love that they all love God, and it's important that they develop their own relationships with him too, and not just our faith. Our faith can't be their faith. I think Corey and Bailey are old enough that they've developed their own. Weston is still in that transition phase where he's figuring it out how to make it his faith and not our faith.
Yeah, it's still the right thing to do. It says, raise them up in the ways and they won't depart from it.
Yeah.
It's true.
It is.
It's the right thing to do.
It is. So thankful for praying mamas and praying grandmas. And if you're a mama and a grandma, just keep praying.
It's working.
Sometimes they might go prodigal, but they'll come back.
Yeah, it's working. Some people just need a little bit more of a Paul conversion.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And we were talking last night how it's harder for us to find that foundation to share our faith when we've been saved since we were 8 or 9 years old, because we didn't have that radical moment where there was this big shift and change. We had to fill it all out and come up with the words to describe why we believe.
And we talked about the Ark encounter and how God had them put down 12 stones when they crossed over, when Joshua crossed over the river.
Yeah.
In the front of my Bible, I probably have told this story before, but I've got a dozen or so things written down. And they're those pivotal moments in your life when you were praying, you were really in tears praying for something, and then it came through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And probably not exactly the way you planned it, but you cannot deny that, wow, this is a breakthrough, right? You're taking a guy who made $800 a month.
Yeah.
We were poor, right? Yeah. And then we started applying a few of these scriptures, and all of a sudden we just started to see the line moving up. It's like, wow, I can just say it works. The word works. But anyway, those pillars, it's funny, these markers in your life, these pillars, like I mentioned, the 12 stones when Joshua crossed the river, you have pillars too.
Yes.
They're easy to ignore, but when you say, like, you come back, you're watching a podcast or something, and you see your kids when they were young, and you think about, oh, Bailey was this age, and that was right when you were carrying Weston. Weston could not be here today.
Yeah.
And so these pillars somehow begin to get your attention.
Mm-hmm.
And we're hard-headed as all get out. I mean, our lessons are really hard. All of us' lessons are really hard.
Yeah.
But anyway, I love those pillars. I think those are definitely confidence makers. And you can't deny them sometimes when you look back and you're like, wow, that was dumb. I was really dumb. And look how that turned out, you know.
Yeah. I think sometimes for me, like, I'm really good at it sometimes, and then I go years where I'm really bad at it. So don't just think that I'm really great at this. But when I'm good at writing down my prayers, 5 years later, when I go pull them out and read through them,
you remember.
Make me cry.
Isn't it funny that those are the easiest things to forget? So you'll be in complete distress praying for a need, like your mother was sick when you're praying. And then you get this breakthrough. She's fine. The doctor's like, wow, this is cool. She's completely healed. And then in 2 months, you don't even remember it.
Yeah, it is crazy how easy it is to forget.
Your mind, there's something about a person, when they're in distress, you've got their attention, but when they're outside of distress, like, you know, like the Israelites, when things were wealthy and good, that's when you really got to worry.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, that's right. Okay, well, you got any closing thoughts?
No, that's it. I just wanted to, I guess maybe for me, the testimony, that's it.
That's it. That's everything. All right, everyone. Well, remember, we would love to pray for you. So if you have prayer needs, send those over to us. You can email me at Jodi, that's Jodi, at highwaysandhilltops.com. Also, follow us on social media. We're Highways and Hilltops everywhere, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So you can find us there. Oh, I do have a little update on YouTube. So I have got episode 22 video posted now. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop with catching up, and we're going to jump to this one. And I'm going to start posting new videos as we go through these new episodes for the 2026 road trip. There's some madness behind this method because we did actually buy a GoPro and we started capturing footage for YouTube. So it makes my job a lot easier.
We've got lots of different devices now. We've got hundreds of cool videos of this trip. We've got the rivers before the flood and after the flood. And I mean, there's be lots of cool content now that we can share that really give you something to watch while you're listening to the podcast.
Yeah, so kudos to you. If you've been hanging on the YouTube channel and you're up to episode 22, you know, sometimes I have to throw some text screens in there because we just weren't really capturing for a YouTube channel back then. We were just sharing stuff on social media, throwing up a photo gallery, and then when I was like, oh, hey, I'm going to go back to the first, and then I'll just catch up. Well, catching up has proved to be a little bit difficult because we're having to build a lot of content to get those videos out there. We still love them because I think we have great things to share.
Yeah, and there's some great shots in this trip.
Yes, we've got
lots of them. We captured lots of hours.
We actually worked very hard on this vacation for our little side gig that we have going on here. So I'm still going to do episodes 23 up to 40, but I'm not going to focus on those. I'm just going to shift my focus to the new stuff, and then I'll go back and backfill those as I have time. So also, school started. Today was my first day back. Yay, professional development. So I will try to stay on top of things, but I think it'll make life a whole lot easier because we have so much footage for the new videos. So I'm excited about those new videos coming out on YouTube. Also, don't forget to check out our online store. You can purchase national park photos and gifts out there. We have many more coming soon. Like Charlie said, we have a lot of great photography from this trip. So I can't wait to get them posted out on the store. Keep watching for those. You can buy all kinds of things. The acrylic is right now my favorite.
Yeah, weeks of work there, and the acrylics are beautiful.
Oh, the acrylics are so awesome.
And they're so cool. I mean, they're easy to command stripped in your RV and stuff like that, which we'll have lots of those in our RV soon too. So
Yep. The acrylics are cool. I have a couple of coffee mugs. I'll have some more because Charlie did a lot of landscape photography on this trip, and he's got some awesome pictures that are going to look great on mugs. So we'll try to add a few more gifts out there for you. So keep checking back there for new items. Remember, you can just get to our store through the website, www.highwaysandhilltops.com, and just click on store, and then it'll take you right to it. You can see everything that we offer out there. I think Bailey made a sticker too that said, "We survived Wyoming I-80" or something. I need to go look. I told her we needed one, so she might be working on that. We'll tell you all about that crazy in the next episode, but we may have some more stickers coming up soon. And you can also pick up the book out there, How to Just Give It to God. If you know someone that's walking through a struggle right now or wrestling with God during a hard time, this is a great gift for people that are going through stuff.
It's a great book. I love it because it's not talking at you. It's not theological. It's a heart-wrenching story that it's an encouraging story as well. So.
And, you know, the teacher in me, I try to do some little workbook stuff at the end of each chapter just to help you kind of work through some things. So you can use it as a guide. It would be great for small groups if you need a study that's not real thick. And so you can pick that up. The link is out there on our website, or it's also available on Amazon, so you can go get it there. Well, do you have anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. Well, friends, that's going to do it for this episode of Highways and Hilltops. It's hot out there, but at least it's like in the 90s this week. So It's not suffocating, it's just hot. So try to stay cool, and until next time, we hope you get to explore something fun this week.
Bye.
See you later.